The last time we were with Bolten Granger, he was deciding which items were essential for the remaining part of his journey. A knife, compass, rain gear, water and food, and bug repellent. We also asked you, our audience, to help Bolten take 5 remaining items, and you chose the following: matches, axe, spare clothes, a survival guidebook, and a Nintendo Switch Lite? Join us now as Bolten Granger continues his only hero's journey. It was Bolten's first night underneath the stars that wasn't planned. See, he had gone camping before, but it had always been for leisure. He had often imagined what it would be like to need to survive. The fierceness that living off the land would actually take always used to excite him. Now that he was in that very situation that he had fantasized about, he was feeling very nervous.
But what if I can't start a fire successfully? What if I run out of food and I eat the wrong plants? Well, is the moss growing on the east side of the tree or the west side or the north? What if I should have practiced my survival skills more?
But he might not need them if he can find his way to his goal. Maybe the destination on his grandfather's map would take Bolten to a slice of civilization. Maybe his pops had known something special about the wilderness here, and that was the secret. At the very least, maybe his grandfather had an underground bunker that would provide food and shelter. Bolten would have readied his map and compass, but since it was night, he turned his eyes to the clear night sky above.
Is the North Star in the Little Dipper or the Big Dipper? I can't remember.
Then Bolten thought of something obvious.
So I'm hiking alongside a river, and following the current could lead to people or food, or at least to boost morale. Water causes life to flow through everything.
Bolten thought, and even if he didn't remember all his fire building and navigational skills tucked somewhere hidden in his memories, he could at least keep moving. Traveling at night wasn't necessarily such a bad idea either. The air was cool and less humid. The flames of the crashed plane and the relentless rays of the sun had scorched him on his first day lost in the woods. But he could at least make the most of what the cooler, more forgiving night could bring. He remembered one thing a mentor had often said.
Positive attitude is the first survival skill. Without it, you're not going to make it very far.
Bolten took a deep breath, aligning himself spiritually with this experience. It was a time to grow and an opportunity to challenge himself. And it was only the first night. There was no reason to despair, especially not yet. And like his old teacher had so often reminded him and others, believing in oneself to conquer the obstacles ahead was the most important part of staying alive.
Only Hero's Journey will continue after a short word from our sponsors. If I were not a Boy Scout, I wish I'd rather be. If I were not a Boy Scout, a farmer I would be. Come on, Bessie, give, my baby's gotta live. Come on, Bessie, give, my baby's gotta live. Well, while we won't be teaching cow milking at Camp Tamarack, we still encourage all interested Scouts BSA members to come to our LaSalle Council weekend camps here in August. Weekend 1, August 14th through the 16th. Weekend 2, August 28th through the 30th. Cost per scout is $80 per weekend, and cost per leader is $40 per weekend. So if you're interested in archery, chess, ecology, aquatics, pulp and paper, astronomy, handicraft, fingerprinting, art, pathfinder, Indian lore, scoutcraft, radio, shooting sports, rifle, shotgun, and more, then consider coming out with your troop or your family to the Scouts BSA weekends here at Camp Tamarack in August. It'll be beautiful, it'll be sunny, and we look forward to seeing you.
Hiking became second nature as Bolten continued his stroll downriver for hours. Eventually, he realized he was slowly climbing down a mountain as well. The speed of the river picked up in evenly sloshing rapids, and after a few more paces, they led into something Bolten hadn't expected to see so soon. The mouth of the river ended in a waterfall, a small but tall one leading delicately into a small lake not much bigger than a football field. It shined crystal blue beneath the shimmering white lights of the stars and moon. And on the opposite side of this lake from where Bolten now stood...
A cabin. That's a nice place for a cabin. Gee, I gambled on this river and it paid off. Now how do I get down there?
He made his way down the cliff face and was careful to eye his hand and footholds with grace despite the excitement of finding salvation so quickly. Whoever lived at this cabin was going to be in for quite the mid-morning surprise. But Bolten didn't care. He had been graced by a higher power that seemed to want him to survive. As Bolten ran around the lake, with each rush step he was getting closer and closer to his destination. But with each rush step, something was...
Hey, that sounds a little closer.
Bolten's ears perked at the distinct sound of another's feet following hot on his heels. He didn't stop.
No time to think, Bolten. Just keep moving.
Bolten exploded into a full-blown run. Well, it was more like he stumbled, tripped, rolled, and finally crashed down a short hill into a stand of bushes. Bolten stilled his breathing. Silence. Maybe his not-so-nimble baby giraffe legs had actually saved him this time.
Hey God, me again. I know I told my brother Bigfoot wasn't real, but I changed my mind.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell fear, that's why you run. Not so bright your little hiding spree. Now there you lie in poison ivy.
Well, there's another one. On both sides, that's never good. Something about a badly rhyming Bigfoot is never good.
Bolten screamed, lurching from the bush as he tried to gain the upper hand on his attackers with a last-ditch frontal assault. He barely broke through his thick cover of branches when he felt the tight strings of a net pull against his body. They had been waiting, perfectly anticipating his center rush. He tripped again. This time panic charged through him like a lightning strike, as a blindfold quickly covered his eyes. Before he could collect his thoughts, zip ties finished the desperate scene.
Surrender or face my wrath.
Excuse me?
The next will be your last. Any more questions? I didn't think so.
Bolten was hauled to his feet and slowly led about a quarter mile to a nearby encampment.
Wisdom I speak and advice I give. Listen to me. Don't move, don't speak, and you just might live.
Ties now wrapped tight around Bolten's legs, cuffing them together. Bolten could hear his captors nearby, loading supplies and talking.
We leave in 5 minutes. Prepare for the final fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs? What are you, an 1870s bare-knuckle boxing announcer?
Voices faded into the forest as they marched away. To be continued! Join us next time as we continue our adventures on Only Hero's Journey. Boys and girls, for more information on how to join the Boy Scouts of America, you have 2 options. You may, with your parents' help, go to beascout.scouting.org and enter in your zip code. Your second option is to visit us at www.LaSalleCouncilBSA.org. We look forward to hearing from you.